Hey, welcome back to the Scaredy Cat Gardener. Today, we are getting ready to talk about the changes with the hardiness zones. Yes, the hardiness zones have changed. If you are not aware, listen up because this is some information that you're going to need going into our new spring season. The government's U.S. Department of Agriculture Plant Hardiness Zone Map has officially changed as of this month, November 2023. This is the first change and update in over a whole decade. Yes, absolutely. The plant hardiness zones are shifting across the entire United States as it warms up. The zones are based off of the annual minimum temperature. Well, yes, the zones are important because they actually help us determine what will grow as well as what will thrive in our specific locations. According to all the data, about 95% of all the U.S. locations have changed. They've warmed about 3.5, 3.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So they've warmed some. So whatever your temperatures were, you're gone a little bit warmer, a little bit hotter by about 3.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And as we all know, it's all about the climate change. But this particular one, you can blame on the heat trapping carbon pollution is what you can blame on the shifting of the area being warmer. And it is anticipated that this warming trend is going to continue over time. So what does this really mean for us gardeners, small and large gardeners? What does this mean for us? Well, for starters, what we all thought we knew for sure that we could grow. We all have those plants, those varieties, whether it's veggies, whether it's fruits, whether it's flowers. We all, just herbs, we all have our guaranteed things that we can plant. Even new gardeners, you have something that is well known for your area and that other gardeners in your area have grown, or maybe it was your first time this year and it grew successfully. Now we have to rethink our thinking. Nothing is written in stone. And you think that maybe just 3.5 degrees warmer, is that really going to make a difference? But if a plant needs a certain amount of heat to germinate, if it needs a certain amount of heat to grow, certain amount of coolness to germinate, certain amount of coolness to grow, and you change that by any degree whatsoever, that could affect how your plant grows and thrives. It's one thing to grow and it's another thing to thrive. When you thrive, then you're producing. You can have a plant that grows, but will it thrive? And I know this may sound crazy, but for some, it may even give you a slightly longer growing season. 3 to 3.5 degrees warmer does not necessarily seem like a lot. Okay, think about it in this terms. When it's 60 degrees outside and then the next day is 63 degrees outside, it can feel warmer. Or if it's 97 or 96 degrees and then you hit that 100-degree weather, that heat, that 3 degrees, you're like, oh man, it was in the 90s yesterday and now look at it. It's in the hundreds. That little bit of degree, if you feel it, it will feel it. Then there's the water. We may have to water just a little bit more because our plants are a little bit warmer. When you get warmer, you get thirstier. So this may cause us to need to water our plants a little bit more than we have before. 3 to 3.5 degrees climate change, and it's shifting. And everyone is being affected by this change. Now, I have spoken in the past about keeping a gardening journal. Gardening journal, where you write down things that were successful, things that were not, how it did, what it didn't do, what you fertilized with, how often did you water, did you give it some other nutrients, what did you do for this plant? So if you have your handy dandy notebook, it will come into play now, because you can start there. You can look in your book, you can see what grew. Then check your grow zone. Everybody needs to recheck their grow zone. Once you find out what your new grow zone is, then do the research on your plants that were successful, things that you want to grow, things that you've already grown. Check it. And if the exact plant is not going to still be hardy in your zone, then begin to check its varieties. Because a lot of times, plants that may not do well will have a specific variety that will still do well in your zone. Whether it's colder or warmer, it will still do well in your zone. So I hope y'all used y'all handy dandy notebook. And if you don't have a gardening notebook, you can for sure use any notebook you want. But I will also leave a link to some really cute gardening notebooks. Just click that view products and you'll get to see them if you want to get a specific one for gardening. Now, how do you check your zone? You need to go to the USDA.gov Hardiness Zone and put in your zip code. Now, down in the description, which is right below this video, click the word more, it'll expand the field. I will leave the link to where you can go and check your zone. Everyone needs to check their zone. So, whatever your zone was, it probably is not that anymore. And it probably went to the next zone up that was a little bit warmer. But don't take my word for it, because I don't know where you live at and I don't know your zip code, okay? So you need to go to the USDA.gov plant hardiness and put in your zip code. But I will leave the exact link down in the description so that you can make sure you get your zone. And the sooner you do it, the better, because the sooner you do it, the sooner you can begin to plan. So before I get into what I'm going to do, because my zone has definitely changed, take a second and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you won't miss anything. All my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with me yet again. And for my channel members, thank you so much for your loyal, faithful support. I'm using my notebook and my knowledge because I did not write everything down in the notebook, but I'm going to go over the plants that I want to grow next year. I'm sure a lot of you all have saw that video that I'm going to have a medicinal section of my garden, and I'm going to have an herb section of my garden, and then I'm going to have my plants that are just my veggies and my fruits that I normally have. But now I need to check them. But because it's going slightly warmer, I am also hoping that maybe I can grow a couple of maybe fruits or things that I couldn't grow because I was a little bit colder. So I will be also plugging in to research the best plants that will grow in my new zone. And then what do I need to do to take care of those plants? And then you all will not hear me say, probably ever again, I'm Pam, this is Zone 7B, because I'm no longer in Zone 7B. And with that note, I'm Pam, this is Zone 8A. Anywhere you can sit a pot, you can grow a plant.